Welcome to the Parenting Unmasked podcast. I'm Kimberly Cox from the Neuro Circus, and I am so ridiculously excited that you are here today. We are going to be talking about summer. That season that's supposed to be relaxing and magical, but it often feels like meltdowns and overstimulation and parents counting down the days until school starts again. So we need to have a chit chat about how to make this upcoming summer super magical. All right. So we cannot begin without addressing the summer struggle. Okay. So let's normalize that summer can be hard, especially for neurodivergent kiddos. Okay. There is no structure, and we can try to give them structure, but then there's a whole other added, especially in pathologically demand avoidant children, where you are not my teacher, you are not school, you are not supposed to be giving me all these like structures, right? So school provides a predictable structure. It provides built-in movement. It provides social opportunities. When we are in this space where we are not in those places, we're not having that social interaction, we're not having, the built-in different things, it can send our kids into sensory overwhelm and just meltdowns over unpredictable routines. And I think a lot of us as parents really, really want our kids to just enjoy themselves, have fun, because we know, they're only young once. They don't get this many years again to enjoy themselves, to have fun, to do all the things, right? And especially for those of us who are either neurotypical or who are maybe enjoy more social interaction, enjoy more of the spontaneousness of things. Having to have strict schedules can just feel cramping and like you are unable to break free. So we are going to talk about structure that supports but doesn't suffocate. Okay. So I will say this, I am very much ADHD, and my daughter has ADHD as well as autism, my oldest. There are days when I can definitely tell the difference. I can tell days when I'm able to just pick up and go and the plans can change, and I don't particularly love it when the plans change all the time, but sometimes it's fun. It's like, oh yeah, let's go do this thing like on a whim. My oldest is not like that. She likes to plan. She likes to know what the plan is. She likes to wake up in the morning and know what's going to happen next. That makes her feel safe. And when she doesn't have that, it's not that she necessarily feels unsafe, but the unpredictability can lead her to feeling anxious and not knowing how she's supposed to respond to things, not knowing what's expected of her during certain things. And so we really have to try harder to have a little bit of structure, even when I normally wouldn't do that. And it's hard. It's difficult for someone who doesn't thrive as well in those situations to be in that situation, right? So let's talk about visual schedules first. Okay, so a lot of you probably already have had visual schedules from a therapist, from a counselor or a teacher, special education teacher, where, there's several different ways that you can do it. My favorites are the ones that are like the little, they're just little pictures or words or whatever on like cards that are laminated, and then they have like Velcro on the back. So you can stick them in an order, however, however the day is supposed to go, and they have an idea of what's going to happen. We really talk about like working with the family as a whole. Okay, so you know certain things about your kiddo, okay? Like maybe you can just tell that they have had too much week the last week, and this week they need a chill week. They need to, have a lot of downtime, the ability to just chill and be okay. And that coming with that is that, like, okay, maybe you have one kid that wants to go and one kid that wants to chill, and now I have to figure out how to make both of them happy, right? So that is one of the things that we are going to be working on. We're going to get there here in a little bit. We're going to talk about the Instant Summer Camp. And Instant Summer Camp is something that I created to help families with this summer problem. So, but we can have visual schedules. So like, even a loose visual schedule where it's like, okay, we're going to wake up, we're going to get dressed, we're going to have breakfast, we're going to play, we're going to have lunch, we're going to have quiet time. Like just giving them sort of a flow. If we're leaving somewhere, put that in there, right? So that they know that at a certain point, I'm going to have to transition into a getting ready to leave the house, because that's different than, being home and being able to just like go from one activity to the next, but I'm still home. So we talk about like visual schedules, having those and then utilizing those, and not feeling bad using them, okay? Like if that's something that your family needs, sometimes I need that schedule in order to remind myself of, okay, we planned on doing this thing today or whatever. And it can help me to keep things front and center, right? So there's all different reasons why we can use these visual schedules. Having theme days, okay? And this is something that we're going to talk about. This is one of the coolest features, I think, of Instant Summer Camp. We're going to have theme weeks, but then you can also translate. There are categories, so you can translate that into a theme day or the theme week. There are going to be several different options for you to choose from to make it whatever you need it to be. So things like Water Wednesday, just having a chill Friday, doing like art on a certain day of the week, or going like, okay, we're going to take a weekly trip to the library. A lot of libraries have reading programs that are giving prizes and things like that to the kids. So for your younger kids, getting them involved in something like that is also going to help beat some of that summer slump where they lose some of that like ability to focus and ability to do that kind of stuff. I'm also going to be doing with my kids, it's like a 2-page little thing where they're going to have to watch a 15-minute video of their choosing and then answer a few questions on it, and then they have like 5 math problems, and then they have to read 1 book per week and give me an oral report on that by the end of the week. And it's just enough stuff to give them like a little bit of, okay, we still have some structure, we still have to do some learning, we still have to do some stuff, but not enough to where they feel like, oh my goodness, I'm like never going to be done with this. A 15-minute video and then answer questions should take them about, another 10 minutes probably. The math problem shouldn't take them more than 10 or 15 minutes. And, that's 25 plus your, it's like an hour's worth of work, right? Maybe an hour and 20 minutes for the reading. And it's something to keep their brains engaged. So like I said, the reading programs, things like that, definitely good things to do to get your kids out of the house, get them somewhere where there's structure going on, if that's a thing that you need. And then having morning and evening rhythms, okay? So again, we talk about having like, just having a flow so that the unpredictability doesn't hit so hard. It's not like every day is free for all and it doesn't, it doesn't really matter what happens because it's just whatever. Like, we have a structure. We wake up in the morning, we do certain things in the morning. And when we're getting ready to go to bed, we do certain things when we're getting ready to go to bed. So it's not about controlling every minute. It's about giving their nervous system a pattern to rest in, okay? And that's huge. That's just a really big thing that these kiddos need. Sometimes as parents need it. We'll get to that one in the next podcast. Okay, so now we're going to talk about sensory rich play and how it doesn't have to be complicated, okay? So water bins, nature walks, sidewalk chalk, freeze dance, let it be led by your kids and what they want. This was a hard one for me back in the day when I had little kids, because I wanted to do all of the Pinterest activities and I wanted them all to be perfect and I wanted them to be like Pinterest worthy so I could blog them and I could put them up there. And we did not have that kind of we just couldn't do it that way. And so I would still do them, but then, I had to get used to this idea of like, okay, it doesn't have to look like this. Like, it does not have to look like this. It needs to look like what my kids want it to look like. It's their thing. So, letting them do the leading, letting them pick, like I said, we're going to have weekly themes inside the Instant Summer Camp. It's such a neat idea of how I'm going to do it. We're going to get to that in a minute. We'll get to it in a minute. But reminder that movement is regulation and regulation is freedom. Okay, so if your kids need that regulation to be in that just right state to focus or to sleep or to stay awake or to do whatever it is we need them to do, right? Sometimes they need to move around. Sometimes they need to calm down. Sometimes they need like the compression, right? There are all different kinds of things, and we can get into this. In fact, next week, we're going to do a deeper dive into some of the ways that we can rescue our summer camp. Because sometimes we have these like really big plans and ideas, and then our kids get overstimulated by stuff, and just knowing how to fix the over and under stimulation problem can help a ton in helping everybody have a good time. So we're going to dive into that a little bit more next week when we talk about like I said, we're going to talk about like the SOS, our summer camp. So, what is the Instant Summer Camp? So, the Instant Summer Camp, we're offering flexible weekly themes that give you fun, sensory-safe ideas that you can either structure or totally free flow through, okay? So, I am going to pull this part out here real fast that I have written down. This is not part of the notes that I have on my computer. So I have 6 themes. There's going to be 6 weeks. We are going to be taking the week of the 4th of July off as a break week. So we're going to do 3 weeks in June and then 3 weeks in July. And then for those of you who homeschool, who are like we're going to be this year and pushing off that homeschool start of the year until September, we're going to have a whole nother month of August that's going to be a lot of fun. But most of the kiddos around here start back to school in August. So we're going to do this way. We have, let's see, let me do it in order here. So we're going to do nature our first week, and then we're going to do prehistoric times, and then we are going to do patriotic theme. So I know that won't necessarily be, for those of you who are overseas, we will try to figure out how to adapt that. But we're going to do a patriotic theme right before 4th of July. And my thought for that is that you can then make decorations or test recipes and do things so that if you're going to have a cookout or something like that, you have things that you can bring, ways you can contribute, and all of that that your family would enjoy as well as other families. So giving you kind of that heads up and a little bit of planning for situations where you might be around other families who, might not be in that same area, right? So then we are going to go after the 4th of July. We come back. Our first week back, we're going to have the ocean theme. That is Shark Week, guys. So we're going to do the ocean with Shark Week. We can totally just do sharks if that's what we're into. Or we can broaden that, like I said, to the ocean theme itself. And then we're going to do games. So all different kinds of games. And then the last week, we're going to have like a carnival party whole ordeal. And that's going to be a very special week. I'm going to be traveling to Florida that week. And I do believe I am going to have Kelsey from Universal Minds on the podcast that week. And I'm also going to be hanging out with her in some lives and stuff like that. So that's something that you will not want to miss. I'm super excited about that. And then I have 5 different areas, okay? So we have food, and food is broken into 2 categories. We have food that are snacks, and then we have food that is like a lunch. So you might have a themed lunch one day of the week, and then snacks from that same theme throughout the rest of the week. Or maybe you're ambitious and one of your kids really enjoys cooking as like their special interest, and then you can have them help you do a themed lunch every day that week if that sounds like that's something that would interest them and, give them the dopamine they need there. Crafts will have a craft for every day if you want it, or you can pick and choose. We're going to have games, like as far as like games that are able to be played like sitting, okay? Like just hanging out, like say I Spy or, things like that. Then we're also going to have a sensory activity for each week. And that's going to be something that you can set up at the beginning of the week. And then, you can have it throughout the thing. So if it's a sensory bin with, let's say, some like water beads or something like that, you can have that and the kids can play with that all week for, during that week. And then the next week we can start over and do a new sensory activity. That is something that you have that is, as I would do it, where my kids could pick and choose whenever they wanted to use it. And, it would kind of be an open thing. You might be in a family where that can't happen, and then you would just pick and choose, right, when it was appropriate. So that is sensory. And then we have physical activities too. So games where we're running or we're up moving around, or we're, prehistoric, we're doing dinosaur walks or whatever, right? We're going to have different games that we're going to be up moving around, or physical activities where we're up moving around to do the thing. So that is our instant summer camp in a nutshell. I have made certain things like for my family, we're going to be doing a theme lunch on Friday, and Monday through Thursday, we're going to be doing snacks. So we might do a snack on Friday too. I don't know yet, but we're going to be doing the themed lunches are going to be on Fridays. And then Monday through Thursday, we're going to have the snack. Crafts, we're going to do Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we're going to do 3 crafts per week according to that. We're going to do games on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Sensory is going to be throughout the week, and then physical activity on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So Friday is pretty much going to have everything. And that's because Friday is going to be the day that I'm going to come to you guys with the most stuff. I'll be giving you little hints and pieces throughout the week, but on Friday, we're going to be doing a lot more live and a lot more little like inserts into the group and things. So I'm excited about this. It's definitely something that I feel like we can use. If you've ever wanted to send your kid to camp, but maybe weren't exactly sure, right, how they would handle it. Could they be away from home that long? If it's a sleepaway camp, are they going to be okay for days on their own? If it's a day camp, is it something where you still have to pay? And if they don't partake in it, then you have to, you're still out that money. And so you want to make sure that they're going to be able to handle these activities and stuff. We're going to have our group inside of the NeuroCircus Big Top, and it's a very safe place for people to post pictures and videos, for our kids to watch each other doing the activities and just watching each other have fun, right? Another avenue that you can use this summer camp as is a neighborhood kind of camp, okay? You can use this as a space where you can invite your neighbors, you can use it in your church, you can do that kind of stuff, and it will give you the activities and instructions, and we're going to have a group area for each of those different activities and each of the different themes, where people can drop links if they find something that they think they would be interested in and other people might be interested in. It's just going to be a lot of fun being able to work with other families, get to meet other families, and we are going to lead right into the start of the homeschool co-op. So if you are a homeschooling family, and I am not telling you to leave your co-op if you have one that you go to, more power to you. Please do that. You can do this one as well. We are going to be doing fun activities every single month. We're going to have lots of opportunities for the kids to get to know each other, the kids to get to hang out on, in live setting, online. So it will just be a very fun, interesting whole family activity that we're going to launch. That's going to be launched in September after Labor Day. So lots of stuff going on, but summer camp is going to be so much fun. So I hope that you realize that this summer can be different. It can be simple. It can be structured just enough to feel safe, but spacious enough to feel magical. I'm Kimberly Cox. This is the Parenting Unmasked podcast from the NeuroCircus. I am so glad that you were here. If you got anything from this episode, please leave it in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys all later.